Did you ever consider, brother, how much rubbery squeaking has to occur every time Bruce Wayne squeezes himself into the bat suit? Every wardrobe change would sound like a fat kid trying to climb out of a bouncy castle filled with styrofoam.
Well, remember, brother, that criminals are a cowardly and superstitious lot. Perhaps he wanted to frighten them by simulating the sounds of hundreds of approaching bats, and thus chose his costume material based on the loudest potential for flapping and squeaking.
That's a bit of a stretch, brother. I don't think anyone would make that connection without being explicitly told, which would in turn compromise some of its impact.
You mean like having Robin run ahead and try to explain the sounds to the criminals?
Right, I question the effectiveness of Robin standing around in front of a dingy alleyway trying to casually sell a line like, "Gosh, that sounds for all the world like a swarm of vampire bats," to no one in particular.
Perhaps at some point, cowardly and superstitious were joined by deeply impressionable in Bruce Wayne's criminal manifesto.
You know, given the sheer amount of rubber and leather involved, a sparring match between Batman and Catwoman would sound basically indistinguishable from an insane gopher pitching a conniption fit on a rusty mattress.
At least there'd be a small furry mammal involved, still basically on brand.
That's another thing that bothers me about Batman's entire shtick, brother. Let's accept at face value that criminals are a cowardly and superstitious lot. What superstitions exactly is a bat persona taking advantage of? Short of him spontaneously turning into Dracula, can you think of a single superstition that actually revolves around bats?
Maybe he was leaning more on the cowardly part of the equation.
At least Catwoman has established Black Cat lore to fall back on. Batman never even bothered to specify what type of bat he was emulating. For all we know, Bruce Wayne could have crafted his entire persona, attempting to exploit what he assumed was a shared criminal fear of having their stockpiles of guava fruit and nectarines decimated in the night.
They do get in ladies' hair, though, and there's a risk of rabies.
Ooh, that's dark.
He is a dark knight, brother.
I guess the actual question is, how effective is the whole Batman thing really? Simple numbers show Batman, as an individual, could only interact with a minuscule percentage of Gotham's criminal underworld over any given time period, and everyone already knows his justice is entirely non-lethal, so how much of a deterrent is the extremely low threat of being punched and tied up by a man dressed as a rodent?
According to the thriving online message board, people who like to be punched and tied up by men dressed as rodents, I'm inclined to say, not very much.
On the other hand, it does sort of make sense when you consider that Batman's real targets aren't street-level thugs, but high-ranking gangsters and supervillains.
I'm not sure I follow you. He beats up street thugs because they're not his real targets?
I'll walk you through it. How often does a genuine supervillain-level threat happen to Gotham City?
Literally every weekday.
Yeah, all right, but canonically, how often are we supposed to think they're happening?
I don't know, once every 3 months maybe?
Right, that's a lot of downtime between battles.
So he beats up street thugs to stay in shape.
He beats up street thugs to stay in view, brother. Bruce Wayne's a businessman. You can't just bury your brand for 3 months. Remember, he's been trained by the League of Shadows. Your average back alley criminal doesn't even register as a workout for him. But crack their ribs and back-cuff them to a lamppost, and it tells the world, I'm still here and I do this every day.
So beating up hapless street thugs is Batman's version of posting endless Instagram shots of his lunch.
He is the hero we deserve.